All right, Billy Carson here, aka Forbidden Knowledge, and I have my very good friend, homegrown archaeologist, and one of the greatest guides in the history of Egypt, Mohamed Ibrahim. What's up, Mohamed?
Hi, Billy. We are doing great after so many discoveries in Egypt now.
Yeah,
So I'm very happy with what is going on.
yeah,
And in the social level, we are doing great. We are waiting for
nice.
the feast tomorrow.
Yeah, oh yeah. I want you to use the power of Thoth to send me some of those incredible desserts.
Yeah. By the way, this dessert was mistakenly believed that it was made by a Muslim group when they came to Egypt called the Fatimite,
Mm,
which is about 900 AD. But in my tours, and we're gonna, I believe, you know this in Dendera temple and some few temples, there is
uh-huh.
so many paintings and carvings for cookies. These are
Yeah.
the same cookies we still do it till now.
Wow.
These round cookies, we call it
Mhm.
kah. Okay,
Yeah.
it has lots of butter, flour, and sugar.
Mhm.
Okay, but very delicious. So we
Yeah.
still practice the same ancient Egyptian style.
Wow, that's amazing. Amazing. And by the way, everyone looking right now, make sure you get Muhammad's best-selling book, Egypt Before the Written History: The Lost Knowledge of Ancient Egypt. This is available on Amazon.com or the Forbidden Knowledge website with the number 4, Forbidden Knowledge, or you can go to sabatours.com and get the book. Okay. So, Muhammad, there's been a lot of incredible talk and a lot of excitement going on about Egypt right now. The whole world is looking at Egypt because of a scientist named Filippo Biondi who used a satellite. He positioned a satellite over Egypt and he used a 10 gigahertz band frequency to scan beneath the Giza pyramids. And he was able to scan up to 2 kilometers deep using a very sophisticated type of SAR or SAR ground penetrating radar technology, a little bit different than the normal ground penetrating radar. This ground penetrating radar, it measured all the minute vibrations in the earth, and as the wave bounced back up, it was able to go to a computer that can separate solid mass from empty spaces to create this incredible rendering of what was found down there. So what do you have to say about this?
Okay, maybe I'm the last one is talking about this. Okay, and this is the first time to talk about it.
Yeah.
Um, I need to tell you, but I'm not trying, of course, to take the credit or anything. But in the last 20 years, I was talking about the existence of huge system under Giza Plateau.
You told me when I was there 2 years ago.
And the funny thing, I was there 2 days before the release happened.
Mhm.
Okay, when they released their statement and the result of their work, and I had one client. He was a
Mm.
very special client, and he wanted to do a very private tour.
Yeah.
So I took him off the route. I took him to unbeaten path, and we were in places around the second pyramid. Okay,
Mhm.
and I showed him the entrances and the beginnings of so many tunnels. I'm not saying it is the same tunnel
Yeah.
they found in the
Mhm.
SAR, but when you see these tunnels, you immediately understand that there is a huge system under the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, maybe I will not get involved into the scientific point of view, and because some people say it is right, is wrong. No, I will say this is a very good sign, uh, telling us not that these places existed. Not we are right. It's telling us
Mhm.
yes, okay, because the result of this research or this scan in under any situation, it is like 100% accurate or less or more. I believe it is right
Yeah.
because, as I told you, yes, we know for sure, and it's not only the second pyramid; it
Mhm.
is the entire Giza Plateau and maybe all the ancient Egyptian sites. And
Yeah.
you have been yourself 2 times under Saqqara pyramid. Okay.
Yes.
You saw the network of tunnels. And by the way, there are more. There is the second and the third floor
Mhm.
goes down to more than 50 meters under the ground.
Wow.
Okay. So if you can do this, you have a complete network under any pyramid. Is
Mhm.
there distance or long distance, it means you are able to keep digging. Okay. So I
Yeah.
don't know why people because there is a group like completely surprised and they are against this. They say no, it can't be. Why they do that? We have seen many examples. We have seen Lahoun Pyramid in Fayoum. There is also a maze under the pyramid, and it is approved by Egyptologists a long time ago, known by Egyptologists, and it is recently opened. Okay, so when they talk about these shafts, 646 or close under the pyramid, 8 of them, and then 2 big rooms, what is the problem? We
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
seen other examples. Okay.
Yeah, what I've seen so far, just from being in Egypt with you, the subterranean shaft, 65 meters beneath the Great Pyramid. When you go down there and you look around, you can see that there's more areas to get into, but they kind of have them blocked off. That leads me to believe that they know there's other entrances or ways or other locations that you could travel to from the subterranean shaft, I think. But there's so many underground shafts and so many underground systems. I'm not sure why they're so surprised.
Exactly. And that we have seen many tunnels at Giza Plateau and the famous Osiris shaft. Okay. This is deeper than 60 meters, ended with the third floor flooded with water. So we don't know what is under the water.
Yeah.
If there is any other access. And why we are surprised? Herodotus, the Greek historian himself, he was talking about a huge lake under the Great Pyramid. But some people were trying, and unfortunately, I was one of these people who made this mistake. I was thinking or assuming that Herodotus made a mistake, and he was talking about the Osiris shaft. Okay, that was my wrong explanation or thinking. But now we know that he is talking literally about a huge lake under the Great Pyramid and maybe under every pyramid.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm going to read his quote. I'm going to read the quote from Herodotus. It's actually in my book. I wrote this book 5.5 years ago, Mohammed. And in this book on page 34, I have the shafts that I say are going beneath the pyramid based on what I read in the text. And I say in the text, it goes on for miles beneath the pyramid. And it does go on for miles, which is crazy that this is 5.5 years old. But the 4th century Greek historian Herodotus records one of history's first tour guides to the ancient and to the Greeks in mysterious Egypt. He says, "This I have actually seen." He says he's seen this with his own eyes. "A work beyond words. For if anyone put together the buildings of the Greeks and display of their labors, they would seem lesser in both effort and expense to this labyrinth. Even the pyramids are beyond words, and each was equal to many and mighty works of the Greeks. Yet the labyrinth surpasses even the pyramids." Herodotus talking about what's beneath the pyramids at Giza. He says it surpasses even the pyramids. And I agree with him because the pyramids, for example, even the Great Pyramid, 2.3 million blocks of stone, an amazing interlocking megalithic puzzle. But underneath it, what's down there is so amazing. To me, it overshadows even the work of the pyramid itself.
I agree with you. And if we talk about the second pyramid as a special case, because the angle was a sloping angle, so they had to level the base. Okay. This work itself, in my opinion, is like at least 3 or maybe 4 times bigger than building the pyramid itself. Because they had to cut blocks weighing more than 50 ton, all of them. Okay, the smallest one at least 50 ton. And we talk about the average of maybe 2,000 to 3,000 blocks. They had to cut them in good shape, precise work, and move them from the west side of the base to the east side, where they fill this gap and they level the base. So this work itself is massive. So if they were able to do this, if they were able to cut the 1,000-ton obelisk from Aswan Quarry, to cut the statue with the name Ramses II, 1,000 ton, if they were able to do all of these things, they are able to dig deep. And again, I will keep saying or talking about the shaft under the step pyramid. this huge shaft. Yes, it goes only 28 meters, and there is a second level, as I said, it goes to 50 meters. But we have hundreds of similar shafts.
Yeah.
So with the same technology, with the same ability, they can dig 600 or 800 or maybe 2 miles under the
Yeah.
ground. Okay.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. To me, it seems like these amazing engineering feats were so easy for them. To us, we're still scratching our heads trying to figure out how did they do this. But for them, it must have been easy because they did things so huge and so large and so precise. It had to be something that they were experts at doing and probably had done this before somewhere else.
Yes, and we know we talk about the Serapeum, 300 meters. There is in a place in Middle Egypt called Ilminia. There is the tomb of Thoth or Jehuti. They call it city under the ground. And why they call it city? Because really it looks like or a big village. There is a main square under the ground, the square between the streets. And then there are many streets and then squares in other corners and side streets and branches. And the interesting thing that the academics, they don't call it tunnels, they call it streets. Street 1, Street 2, Street 3. And my laser pointer, which I think it goes to 500 meters, when I turn it on, I didn't see the end of it, the green dot, I didn't see it. So it means it is deeper than 500 meters. Okay. So yes, we have examples of the existence of very deep underground designs. 2 days ago, I was reading some of the opinions about the discovery, and I was listening to one of the famous podcaster here in Egypt, podcasters, and he made a very interesting and funny question. Okay, he said that the ancient Egyptians didn't leave any message or any information or any story about the underground designs. By the way, why I call it funny? Because the ancient Egyptians themselves didn't leave anything about the pyramids. They didn't mention the pyramids in their writings or paintings, the pyramids itself. Okay. But you know why I call it funny? Because truly, this they left for us an evidence or a hint about what they called Giza Plateau Rose Tau. So the official name, the ancient Egyptian official name of the Giza Plateau is called Rose Tau. And what does it mean, Rose Tau? Rose Tau means the underground designs.
Wow.
Tunnels under the ground. This is the meaning of the Rose Tau. Okay.
Wow.
And that's why Osiris is the Lord of the Rose Tau, the Lord of the underground tunnels. And here it is. So I don't think we need any other, we don't need any other evidence. The ancient Egyptians themselves, they told us, yes, there are so many tunnels under. And when we talk about the underworld, this is the meaning of the Rose Tau. And this is maybe was one of the reasons to call Giza Plateau as a cemetery, thinking that it is the underworld serving the afterlife. But it happens that no, it is not. It is serving under the ground, or there is a huge system and mechanism exist under the ground.
Yeah. Wow. You know, in the Sumerian tablets, Enki and Enlil from Iraq, you know, now it's known as Iraq, but back then it was Mesopotamia, ancient Mesopotamia. They were talking about building their abodes. Abode means home. And Enlil chose to build his abode above ground, and Enki chose to build his below ground. And so he basically decided to build this huge metropolis beneath the ground. And he goes on to do that, and he decides to live there. So we see this trend here, Egypt, Mesopotamia, which is right next door, this underground concept of building incredible megalithic structures underground. This guy he said he built a kingdom underground. And I'm wondering how many of these tunnels connect maybe from Egypt all the way to Mesopotamia, ancient Mesopotamia.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
After visiting Dronkew and underground city in Turkey, I'm very confident now that I used to say that these underground systems in Egypt are connected somehow. Now I agree with you that maybe yes, they are all these underground designs all over the world maybe are connected somehow, because
Yeah.
there is a theory from a French geologist called Dr. Davidovits. But the subject of the theory, maybe in my opinion, is wrong, that he was talking about the artificial limestone building the pyramid. But if we can take the same idea, that they can block the gates of these entrances or these tunnels with the same material, artificial limestone, and they can actually cook it like paste, and they cover these entrances. They block the middle or maybe the front or the end of the entrance or the tunnel, and after thousands of years it will look natural for us. That's why when we see it, we will understand that this is not this is natural. And I have an example for this in the Serapeum. People who went to the Serapeum before 2012, they used to enter, and then there was an option to go right to the unfinished box, or to go left, and then another left to see the other unfinished box, and then go back to the main tunnel to the right side. But after 2012, now we still have the option to go to the right. But when we go to the left and then left, we can keep going left because they discovered behind the wall another entrance.
Wow.
So it means that this wall, which there is now an iron door, it was not a wall long time ago. So maybe this wall is an artificial wall, was made by the ancient Egyptians.
Yeah.
And for years, for thousands of years, we used to think it is a natural wall, and no one would imagine there is another extension behind this wall. But after this wall, we don't have any story about what exactly happened and what was the reason to discover this extension. The rumor that there was a mistake and a big tool hit the wall, so it was cracked. And that's why they found it. Okay.
Wow.
But this is what I'm trying to say. Yes, so many tunnels has an end, but maybe the end is not natural end.
We go inside the Great Pyramid, and we, for example, the subterranean shaft. When you look up from the subterranean shaft, you see that the shaft is cut through solid blocks all the way to the surface.
Yes.
Right? And I'm thinking, if you're building this structure out of this solid stone, and you can't build the shaft at the same time that you're building this, because even the blocks are cut in an angle. You can see the perfect cut, the perfect angle going right down in. Is that a 65-degree angle? I don't know what angle that is.
I think 31 degrees.
31. Okay. The angle is perfect.
You talk about the blocks or the passageway?
The shaft going down to subterranean.
41, 42, I think that is. It's
Okay.
around 40 to 45.
So the point I'm making is, when you look at it, like when you go to the subterranean shaft entrance and you turn around and you look back up, you see that it's perfect.
Yes.
And you have to say, all of these shafts, if they could, it looks like you can't build it when you're building the pyramid. You can't cut them while you're building the pyramid, because you cut them, it seems like they're all cut after the pyramid was completed or something. I mean, what tool can cut through that much stone? And what about excavating all the debris? Does the debris vanish? Does it disintegrate? I mean, the technology, the understanding that they had, it still, I scratch my head every time I see it. You know, it doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. And as I told, yes, this example is very interesting that, yes, it is, when you go from inside the Great Pyramid, I think the first 15 meters